Hey treasures, welcome back to my channel. I know, I'm doing a video and I'm not wearing any eyelashes. Like, who am I? I can't believe that it's 2023 and I'm still here. And not like I'm still here like on YouTube, but just like I'm still living life because life kind of fucking sucks. But anyways, if you haven't seen my last video, I will have it linked down below. This is the part 2 version of dating a Psycho Sagittarius. I don't really know what I'm going to call this video, but this is the part 2 version. So let's just jump right on into it today. So basically, after I made my move and I went with Kiddo instead, the entire time I'm like, okay, like, let's go, because it's like, now I'm like, okay, I got my new man, whatever, like, let's go. We will in a minute. And let's just fast forward a bit because it took a while for us to like actually leave. And at this point, it's like 4 a.m. and I'm talking to my friend who brought me there. And I don't know if I named her in the other video, but let's just call her Carla for the sake of this video. So I'm talking to Carla and I'm like, you go hang out with your dude. I'm going to hang out with mine. And you need to take me home after that. And she's just like, okay, sure. Like, let's do this. Bump. I'll see you later. So I go and I'm hanging out with Kiddo and, you know, we're talking. Well, we're not really talking, but like whatever, shit goes down, right? So then I'm calling Carla because Kiddo actually had to go on like a work venture, and like I had been told about it from before by Disco, actually, when him and I were talking at the bar. So all their friends were going to this work venture, whatever, that was gonna be like far away. And so he was telling me about it, and I was like, have you started packing for it yet? And he's like, no. So I don't know what it is about me, but I just get anxiety when people cut it too close, if you know what I mean. So he had to go, and he was like calling his friends being like, okay, what time are you leaving? And I'm like, have you packed yet? And he's telling me he hasn't packed yet. So I'm like, okay, like, hello, like, let's start packing then. So I kind of like make him start packing because I'm like, what the hell, like, you have to leave soon, you know? Anyways, I'm calling Carla or whatever. She's telling me she's on her way, and then I'm calling her like 20 minutes later, and then she's like, oh, she fell asleep, whatever. So I'm like, bitch, you better wake the hell up because you're driving me home. And Kiddo's just like, well, I'll take you. And I'm like, no, it has to be Carla. So eventually Carla gets there, and so I'm saying bye to Kiddo, and he tries to like dops me, and I'm just sitting there like, no, I'm sorry, I am not your homeboy. No, especially like after you and I like hooked up or whatever, I am not about to dops you. Like, what the fuck? No. I'm like, either you can like just say bye, or you can give me a hug or whatever. Like, especially all what you did to me, like, you want to dops me? No. And it's funny too because as we were like kind of leaving, like after everything was said and done, and him and I were just like cuddling basically, like he was just like hugging me, and he was like, I'm gonna keep you around, like, I'm gonna keep you. And I'm just like, I don't know about that. Because, like, if you've seen any of my videos, I was definitely not looking for a relationship. I did not want one. It's not like I don't even believe in relationships. I just don't believe in relationships in this generation. Like, everyone's fucking moron. So, like, no. And so I gave him my number because I'm like, you know, maybe he can be what I want, which was, like, a friends benefits situation. And so that is why I gave him my number. And so anyways, Carla is driving me home, and I'm like telling her all about it, and Kiddo actually ends up texting me, I would say like an hour later. And I remember I was just like telling like my friend, like I called my friend and told her like what happened, like my other friend who's not like relevant to the story, and she's just like, what the hell, like, who knew your night was gonna turn like that? And I'm like, I know, right? And so, like I said, Kiddo had a work venture, so he was gone like the entire week. He left Tuesday, and then he was gonna be gone until Friday night. And he had asked me to go on a date with him on Friday, and I had accepted because I was like, yeah, this is the start of like what I want, right? I met him June 7th because I have actually like a necklace of that. But anyways, so we're like texting like pretty much like every single day. He's like checking on me and making sure like I'm good. The conversations aren't like super frequent, but it's like frequent enough to like let me know like I know what's up, basically. And so let's just fast forward to Friday, where he's like coming back home now, and he tells me like he's back now and everything like that. And I wasn't done work until about like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock. And so I let him know. And so I end up going home, and I tell him like, oh, I'm home now. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. And I'm just thinking like, why aren't you asking me what time we're meeting up? Like, why aren't you telling me to like go get ready? And so he's talking to me about like frivolous things, and it's pissing me off because I'm the type of person that if you and I are about to go out, do not call me, do not text me about shit that we can talk about whenever I see you. Like, don't ask me how my day was, because what the fuck are we gonna talk about on the date? You know what I'm saying? So, like, tell me, like, bitch, get ready, and that's it. Like, I'm pretty sure I've said this before, but, like, that's just how I am. It really, really irritates me when people try and, like, fucking talk to me whenever I'm about to go see them. So, I'm waiting and waiting for him to, like, tell me. And honestly, like, because I was the one that wasn't so, like, gung-ho about continuing any type of, like, relationship or, like, contact with him, I was basically like, he needs to do all the work, because, like, he's the one who fucking wants this shit, you know? And so I remember I just ended up taking a nap, because I'm getting so pissed off. Like, I'm getting so mad that he's taking forever, basically. And so I wake up, and I remember I go to my mom's room, and she could just tell instantly, like, what is wrong. And I explained to her the situation. She's like, well, you know what? Just go and text him and whatever. And I'm like, no, I am 100% stubborn, and I will not be, like, persuaded. I don't think I'm difficult, but I guess this is me being difficult. I don't know. But anyway, so I'm like, no, I'm not going to text him. Like, either we're hanging out and he's going to initiate it, or we're fucking not. And so as time goes on, whatever, at this point in time, it's like 8 o'clock, and I'm getting pissed off, because I honestly do not like to put my makeup on past 8 o'clock, because makeup lasts, 8 hours? If I put my makeup on at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, I'm going to bed at, like, 1. So it was only on for, like, a couple hours, like, not the full use of putting on makeup, you know what I mean? Because makeup is expensive. So I'm just, like, pissed. I get so pissed. I hate leaving my house later than, like, 8, unless I'm going to, like, a club or something. And so he's like, how was your day? And I was like, fine. I'm literally giving him one-word answers, and I'm being so bitchy, so spoiled bratish, 100%. And so he's like, so what are you saying right now? And I'm like, I'm at home. I'm getting so freaking frustrated, because what the fuck are you doing? Tell me if we're hanging out or not. So anyways, I would say it took about a little bit of a while, and he asked me again, so what are you saying? And I'm like, okay, let me know what's going on or not, because I'm going to bed. And I actually remember that I screenshotted, like, us hanging out, and I sent it to him. I didn't even say anything anymore, because I was so done. I sent him a screenshot, and he's like, yeah, we will, like, just figuring out, like, what's going on. And I'm just thinking, like, what the fuck? Like, why do you need to figure out what's going on if you know that we're hanging out? Like, I'm confused. So then he goes, well, so what are you doing right now? Do you know how many times he asked me that, and, like, within, like, I swear, like, a 45-minute period, what the fuck am I doing? What am I saying right now? I honestly should have just, like, cut it at that point, but obviously this wouldn't be a fucking 4-part video if I did, right? So anyways, I sent him the screenshot again, and he's like, are you in a bad mood? And I'm like, this boy, and I'm calling him a boy, and I call him kiddo for a freaking reason, even though he was older than me, because what the fuck are you talking about? And he's like, okay, you know what, if you're in a bad mood, let's change it, whatever, go get dressed, and I'll come pick you up. Picks me up, and he's like, oh, like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I'm honestly not picky at all. Like, we can go out for drinks, we can go and get food, like, I haven't eaten yet. I'm down for, like, pretty much anything. And so we end up going back to, like, his neighborhood or whatever, and he has, like, a bunch of his friends, like, just there, like, in their cars. And it was, like, the weirdest thing. Like, we pull up, and, like, literally, like, their friends are in their cars, like, just talking to each other, and nothing's going down. Like, they're all just talking, trying to figure out what's going to go down, but, like, no one knows what's going down, but they're all here collectively trying to figure it out. And it was the weirdest, strangest thing that I've seen. And so he gets out of the car, and I'm like, okay, do I leave my person here? Like, what the fuck? Like, see one of the people that I had met the night when I first met him. What did I name him? Oh, Diddy. So I see Diddy, and I'm like, okay, cool, somebody I know, because I know Carla is working tonight, so I know I'm not going to see her until later. So I'm like, okay, I have to hope and pray that there's someone that I met the night before, so I'm not, like, super, like, awkward, you know, or, like, not having, like, a good time, because I don't want to be up kiddo's ass. Obviously, he's with his friends, so I'm, like, saying hi to, like, Diddy and everything like that, and then he kind of, like, leaves me. And by the way, like, kiddo gets out of the car and goes and says hi to his friends, and, like, literally leaves me there while I'm just, like, twiddling, like, my freaking thumbs. And I'm like, okay. So I'm looking at the cars, I'm, like, looking at the people, and I see a girl sitting in a car, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna be confident, like be my confident self, and I'm confident when I have to be, and I'm just gonna go over and say hi. So I literally opened the car door like I owned it, and I sit in the driver's seat, and she's sitting there, and she looks at me, and she's like, hey, and I'm like, oh, hey, like, and I explain who I am, and I'm like, oh yeah, like, I'm Carla's friend, like, blah, blah, blah. And so then her and I start talking. Eventually, like, I want to say maybe like 20 minutes goes by where Kiddo finally like comes back and remembers that I can exist. And he's like, oh, cool, like, you guys already met. And then he tries to like do an introduction. And I'm like, are you kidding me? I've been sitting here for 20 minutes. Obviously, I already introduced myself. Like, what the fuck? So anyways, the girl that's sitting in the seat that I was talking to, whatever, she has a boyfriend. And so I guess I'm going to give them names. So the girl, her name is going to be Shiny. Okay, Shiny. And then her boyfriend's name is going to be Tipsy. I don't know why I came up with those names, but anyways. So Shiny is a girl, Tipsy is her boyfriend. And so Tipsy comes back to his car, and like I'm sitting in the driver's seat, right? And then like, okay, what do you want to do? And Shiny and Tipsy are explaining to Kiddo that they're about to go to their friend's house later, yada, yada, yada. So, like, what are we going to do? Eventually, we decided that we're going to go to Moxie's in, like, far away from, like, where I lived, or even, like, anyways, we ended up going, and it's just the four of us, so it's, like, a whole, like, cool, like, double date type of thing. We're on this, like, double date, whatever, and generally, like, I liked Shiny, and I liked Tipsy. Like, I actually loved them. Like, they were hilarious, and, like, they were, like, so cute together. Excuse me. And they're gonna matter later in the story. But anyways, so it had seemed like to me that Kiddo, like, I don't know, like, it was like so like weird. It didn't feel like a date with like for me and him. It just felt like we had all known each other previously, and we were all just like hanging out, because he wasn't asking me really any questions. Like, he'd ask if like, oh, are you okay, like, here and there, but like, that was basically it. Anyway, so the night progresses, and then we end up at Annie and Tipsy's friend's condo downtown. And I remember I got a call from Carla, and she tells me like she's on her way, and I'm like, oh, thank you, Jesus, because I need someone that's like my relief, where I can like not be like so like hypertension, you know, of like tense and like nerves and everything like that, because obviously these are people like I don't really know. And so she tells me she's gonna be on her way to like the condo and stuff like that. And so we end up getting in after like a little bit. And I'm like sitting there, and then Carla finally shows up, and I'm like hanging out with Carla. And then at one point, like, Kiddo like comes and like talks to me, like, finally, like, you would think that we like weren't even together or anything like that. It's like, obviously I'm his date, right? You'd think that we weren't even together, like, fuck. And so then we're like talking and stuff like that. And then I'm like a very affectionate person, I feel like. And I feel like he like craves like affection, or he craved mine, because from what I know now, like, he was never really like that, but like he generally like always wanted me to be like all over him, even though he wasn't gonna be all over me. It makes no sense, but I know. And so like we're in the kitchen, and I remember like I have like my arms around him, and he's like a little bit taller than me, so I have my arms around him, and I'm like looking at him, and then he like kisses me and stuff, and I was just like, okay. He's still like feeling me after this date or whatever, and like I can't even say that I liked him more. I just liked him. It wasn't more than when I met him, or like less. It was just like I liked him, basically. And so anyways, after the night progresses, whatever, we eventually end up going home. I had a photo shoot the next day, so I could not like stay the night or anything like that, so I like had to go home. So I ended up going home, and that is how the first date went. Now, after the first date and everything like that, it genuinely was like we were talking all the time, and then we had plans to like, we'd have like plans to go out. But how this thing ended up turning out to be was actually ridiculous, because the next time we were supposed to hang out, which was the next day, actually, next day, yeah, 100%, was the next day. For the second part of this story, I will have the third one up very, very, very soon, and trust me, that one is juicy too. So if you want to know how this relationship continued to be the biggest shit show of my fucking life, then I will see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.
Nobody gets me